I met him on a quiet Tuesday night, scrolling through messages that felt as empty as the apartment I had recently moved into. His profile stood out. Jake, handsome, clever, with just the right amount of mystery to keep me intrigued. We started chatting, and he was witty, charming, and open in a way that felt refreshing. Unlike most people I had met online, he didn't seem to have any agenda, didn't bombard me with questions, and genuinely seemed interested in knowing me. For weeks, he became the constant I hadn't realized I was missing. As our messages deepened, I grew increasingly attached. Late nights turned into shared secrets, past hurts, dreams, and vulnerabilities. We had our little rituals, checking in each morning, goodnight messages that would linger in my mind well after I'd read them. We shared so much that I felt I'd known him for years. It was surreal, comforting, and I started to believe I'd finally found someone who understood me. One evening, after a month or so of chatting, he suggested we meet in person. He'd invited me to his city, claiming that he wanted to introduce me to his world. Part of me hesitated. It wasn't easy to trust someone fully, especially from online, but he reassured me, subtly building up the idea of a weekend that would only bring us closer. I couldn't help but agree, excitement overtaking any lingering doubts. I remember arriving in his city, slightly nervous, but mostly thrilled. We had planned to meet at a local bar he loved, a cozy place he said I'd adore. When I got there, though, he wasn't waiting for me. I messaged him, and he apologized, saying he was running late but would be there soon. He suggested I wait for him in a nearby cafe. Minutes turned into an hour, and I started to feel uneasy. Then a stranger approached me, a man who said he knew Jake. He was disheveled, intimidating, yet oddly familiar with Jake's stories, referencing small details only Jake would know. He claimed that Jake had sent him to meet me since he was running behind with an urgent family matter. Against my better judgment, I followed him to another part of town, thinking Jake was nearby. As we walked down quieter streets, my discomfort grew, but I pushed it aside, telling myself that my trust issues were flaring up. Finally, we stopped in front of an apartment building, where the man told me to wait. Minutes passed, then my phone buzzed. It was Jake, apologizing profusely, claiming he was inside and coming down, but he never came. Instead, 3 men surrounded me, including the one who had brought me there. At first, I thought it was a misunderstanding, that maybe this was some kind of horrible prank, but their expressions told me otherwise. They pulled me aside, and I felt my pulse race as their intentions became clear. They demanded my phone, wallet, and the bag I had packed, laughing as they rifled through my belongings and mocked me for trusting someone I'd only known online. When I tried to resist, the blows started. First a punch to my stomach, doubling me over, then more as I struggled to break free. My pleas fell on deaf ears. The strangers just laughed, taking pleasure in my pain. In that moment, I realized I was completely alone, trapped in a strange city with no one to help. The assault was brutal, leaving me bruised and bloodied on the cold pavement. As they left, they warned me not to go to the police, taunting me that no one would believe some pathetic online romance story. I lay there, dazed, feeling every part of my body aching, but my mind couldn't comprehend the betrayal. Somehow, I made my way back to my hotel, bruised and broken. I spent that night nursing my wounds and scrolling through my phone, looking at our messages. They all felt like lies now. The person I thought I had connected with was just a mask, a cruel trick to lure me into a trap. My mind spiraled with questions. Was it all a setup from the start? Had there ever been a real person behind those messages? In the weeks that followed, the physical scars healed, but the emotional ones lingered. I became a ghost of who I'd been, haunted by the betrayal and distrustful of anyone who tried to get close to me. The warmth I had once felt was replaced by a cold emptiness, a bitter reminder of how easily someone could manipulate and shatter trust. I often replay our conversations in my mind, looking for signs I missed, moments that should have alerted me. But each time, I come back to the same conclusion. There was nothing obvious, no red flags until it was too late. And now, every interaction, every message feels like a potential threat, a reminder of the vulnerability that comes with opening yourself up. What hurts most is the realization that the person I fell for never existed.